I welcome you all to ISTD Ahmedabad chapter's 35th Learners Forum on Management Lessons from Cricket. The Indian Society for Training and Development was established in April 1970 and is a national level professional and non-profit society registered under the Societies Registration Act 1860. It has a large membership of individuals and institutions involved in the area of training and development of human resource from government, public and private sector organization and enterprises, education and training institutions, and other professional bodies. The society is affiliated to the International Federation of Training and Development Organizations, IFTDO USA, and Asian Regional Training and Development Organization, ARTDO Manila. ISTD organizes training programs all over the country, both at chapter and national levels. ISTD has been designated as the nodal agency to testing and certification of skilled workers in the organized and unorganized sectors. ISTD is managed by a national council headed by a president at the apex level and managing committees headed by a chairman at the chapter level. They are assisted by other office bearers and functional committees in a wide spectrum of activities. Just a couple of ways of working before we begin. All the participants are currently on mute, so if you want to come live and interact with us, you need to raise your hand. The option is given on your right-hand side to speak. All your questions need to be put up in the questions tab. Again, that option is on your right, and all the questions will be taken up towards the end. Use the chat box to interact or respond, and if required, we might also invite you over through our controls to share your thoughts and perspective and give reactions extensively during the session, just like I'm demonstrating right now. So maybe you can use different reactions from the reaction panel right there. So today we have with us Dr. Sameer Pingle, who has been engaged in industry, teaching, and research from the last 18 years. He was awarded NET in Management by UGC in 2005 and NET in Human Resource Management and Industrial Relations in 2012. Bloomberg UTV and Stars of the Industry Group honor Dr. Pingle with Best Teacher in Human Resource Management during B School Excellence Awards 2012 at Mumbai. He has presented research papers in national and international seminars and has won Best Paper awards in international conferences. His work as Social Project Guide was recognized by SIFE in 2010. Cases written by him are registered with European Case Clearing House. He has participated in many workshops and faculty development programs. Dr. Pingle has conducted sessions in in-house management development programs as well as for business houses. He has been a visiting faculty for human resource management in premier institutes like Indian Institute of Management Nagpur, Ahmedabad Management Association, and Indian Institute of Technology, Gandhinagar. He is a life member of Academy of HRD, MTC Global, Indian Commerce Association, and Indian Society for Training and Development. As a member and life member of Indian Society for Training and Development, he has also held different positions as treasurer in 2009-10, as secretary from 2010 to 2015, as the vice chairperson from 2015 to 2016, and as the chairperson of the chapter from 2016 to 2017. His areas of interest are performance management, recruitment and selection, HR practices in MSMEs, expatriate management, and management education. We welcome you, sir, to today's session. So just a quick glimpse of today's session. It's about cricket, called the gentleman's game and is played by over 100 countries globally. Over the years, it has undergone an evolution in all aspects and has also become a subject to derive lessons on management, life, people skills, etc. And in today's session, Dr. Sameer Pingle will take us through the management lessons from cricket. So without further ado, let's get started. So over to you, Sameer, sir.
Thank you, Yash. Thank you for the kind words. So good evening, one and all. Me and Yash were contemplating on the topic for almost a month. We had exchange of words to finalize the topic. So he suggested many topics. Okay, and I said no, I'll do something different, which I have not done so far. So this is my first attempt to share my thoughts on management lessons from cricket, because as we all know, all of us, especially in India, are connected with cricket one way or the other, right? And I am a keen observer, follower of cricket. I have played cricket for many years, and in while teaching or during training programs, I keep on quoting examples from cricket. So I thought I will consolidate uh, what I know, what is my perspective on cricket, and share with all. So maybe towards the end, all of us can join and share our views and our perspectives on the topic. So, starting with cricket. So, as we all know, it originated in Southeast England in the 16th century. When it comes to management, elemental approaches to management go back at least 3,000 years before the birth of Christ, a time in which records of business dealings were first recorded by Middle Eastern priests. So, that is about cricket and management. Now, talking about drawing lessons from cricket from the management point of view, there are many ways, many dimensions and perspectives. So I have just focused on two of these. First, the individual perspective, the learning from the individual, and second, learning from the team or from the organization point of view. So if I'm working as an employee with an organization, what is learning for me from a player, a particular player from cricket? Okay, so to whichever country the person belongs to. Second, as an organization or as a team, what can we learn from the cricket playing nations, the cricketing teams, right? So that is the focus. So in addition to that, we can also look for so many other perspectives and dimensions. So I thought I will keep it short, and so that we can have more time for discussion and deliberation towards the end. So to start with, all of us talk about talent, right? But when we talk about talent, example is of Vinod Kambli versus Sachin Tendulkar, right? So Vinod Kambli was extremely talented player when he started the Test cricket, right? So he went on to create history with his terrific form, especially in the Test cricket. And to our surprise, he played his last Test match at the age of 23. Um, on the contrary, Sachin Tendulkar worked hard from childhood, and he worked hard throughout his career. So he also faced many problems, many challenges. He had health-related issues. Okay, he was out of form for many years, many times, right? But he came back and he went on to play and win World Cup for India. So let me just show the video.
A lot of us place a lot of emphasis
Volume.
on talent, don't we? I mean, we look at someone who's talented and say, wow, right? Talent does that to people. It dazzles, you know? Talent dazzles. And you look at talent and say, wow, I wish I could be like that. And yet you find that excellence is not about talent alone. In fact, a major part of excellence has nothing to do with talent. And in course of time, once you go beyond a certain level, ability or talent is the most useless virtue to possess. It's what you do with that talent that matters. And that's why he used a word, Mukesh used a word that I love, attitude. Beyond a point, it is attitude that counts for far more than talent. Because talent breeds an ego. And talent never solves problems beyond a point. And I was fascinated by something that Sandy Gordon said when we were doing a program together. Because I had seen a lot of young cricketers, extremely talented, who the moment they faced a roadblock did not know what to do. Because they had never had to struggle to succeed. They always used their talent to succeed. And Vinod Kambli is an example of that. The moment Courtney Walsh bounced him in Bombay, he was 22 years old. Was he? Yeah, he was 22 years old then. In 1994, he was 22 years old. Didn't know what to do, did not play a test match after that. His last test match was when he was 22 years old. Just did not know how to play the bouncing ball because talent had solved everything for him before. In the Australian Army, when they are, and this is something that doesn't come from sport, but it's something a sports scientist told me, that when they're building an elite core team, they look at your career record, your track record. And I mean, let's look at excellence. What is excellence about? It's about being in the top 10% in your profession. I mean, I know I'm talking to people who want to be in the top 1%, but there are a lot of ordinary people around us around. So let's say top 10%. Is talent important when you get to be in the top 10%? I mean, everybody in the top 10% will have the same talent, right? So what's your USP? It's what you do with the talent that counts. And unfortunately in our sport, and I think in India as a nation, we're dazzled by talent a great deal. I found that beyond a certain time in sport, as indeed in broadcasting, that your work ethic and your attitude counts from far more than talent. I mean, Tendulkar is a prime example. The moment you say Tendulkar, if I asked you if you had one of those things that talk show hosts do, I'll give you a word and you give me a connecting word in one word. You say Tendulkar, people say talent, right? He played 55 games as a 14-year-old without a break. 55 days. He'd practice for 2 hours, play a game, practice 2 hours, fall asleep on the dining table. And do that 55 days in a row. That's attitude. You know, we think, and this is something we talk about in our corporate lectures as well, where we advise against talent. When Tendulkar was born, it wasn't that this nurse picked him up and said, here, Mrs. Tendulkar, here's 70 hundreds for you. Yeah? It isn't Tendulkar's talent that's produced 70 hundreds. It's his work ethic, it's his attitude, and more than anything else, when you reach the top, it's his passion to perform. And that counts for far more. The attitude and the passion counts for far more than ability. Ability opens the first door. It might open the second door. It's not going to open the last door for you. Because the guy who's bowling the ball at you has got equal ability as you. He's not going to run up to bowl and say, "Ooh, sorry, you're a genius. Sorry, I'll give you a simple ball." Which is what India's bowlers did in 1948 when they went to Australia. They were so much in awe that they said, "We are going to bowl to Bradman." It was understandable in those days. India was a different country, but they were in awe of bowling to Bradman. How were they ever going to get him out? And they didn't. And Bradman enjoyed himself. If you look at Bradman's record, actually, Bradman only ever played in 2 countries. And when Bradman playing at home in home conditions against a half-strength Indian team, he must have had a party for them every evening. It's also excellence, I think, is also about learning from mistakes. You know, there'll be a lot of people in this room, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in your learning academy as well, who are so driven that they think a mistake is a crime. And that a mistake is a matter of shame. Let's be honest to ourselves, guys and girls, sorry. You know, we guys are very limited in our view of the world. We're a bit like George Bush, but I can't say that openly. We keep saying guys all the time. And if you worked in sport all your life, then you sort of tend to go into the guy thing a little too much, which is sad for everybody. Deep
Sir, did the video stop playing at your end?
Yes, it stopped playing.
And they didn't. I only ever played in 2 countries. And when Bradman playing at home in home conditions against a half-strength Indian team, he must have had a party for them every evening. It's also excellence, I think, is also about learning from mistakes. You know, there'll be a lot of people in this room, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in your learning academy as well, who are so driven that they think a mistake is a crime. And that a mistake is a matter of shame. Let's be honest to ourselves, guys and girls, sorry. You know, we guys are very limited in our view of the world. You're a bit like George Bush, but I can't say that openly. We keep saying guys all the time, and if you worked in sport all your life, then you sort of tend to go into the guy thing a little too much, which is sad for everybody. Deep down inside, you ask yourself, when you make a mistake, what's your first reaction? I hope nobody ever looks at me again, right? I'm going to tell you that mistakes can be your best friend, because the more mistakes you make, the more you know what not to do. And excellence is as much about knowing what to do as knowing what not to do. And if you can be outstanding at knowing what not to do, then the road to what to do opens up before you, doesn't it? I tried telling that to one of my friends who was on the same dorm as me, and we stayed in touch afterwards. He was one of these IT freaks. And I was telling this, I said, this is my attitude about mistakes. I said, the more mistakes you make, the more you know what not to do. And he promptly extended the limits to infinity, as you tend to do, and said, therefore, the most successful guy is the one who only makes mistakes. Right? That would be a mathematical conclusion to it, wouldn't it? Every time I make a mistake, I learn. The more mistakes I make, the more I learn. If I only make mistakes, I only learn. Right? It doesn't quite work like that. But I've yet to meet a situation in life where you're not allowed to make a mistake. Everybody's allowed to make a mistake. It's the second or the third mistake that you're not allowed to make. You make the same mistake twice, thrice, then you lose respect. It's, you know, when bowlers are planning how to get batsmen out, they look for weaklings and say, you know, this guy gets out here all the time. It's because you get out there all the time that they're able to make a plan against you. But if you make a mistake and say, I will not make that mistake again, because I know this is where I can go wrong, then you're starting to do very well. And I found it helped me enormously. I made a million mistakes. Honestly, I've made the most embarrassing mistakes on television. On live television, I've made some absolute bloomers. But I said I won't make them again. Because every time I got to that situation, I said, hang on, buddy, last time you were there, you did that wrong. So it's almost as if little alarm bells go off in your mind. Every time you sit in front of a live camera and you're heading down a path, very often that path is, with 40 seconds to go before ending a program, asking Sidhu a question. You know you've made a mistake straight away. Because it won't end in 40 seconds. But I can say that because he's my dearest friend of the current ESPN star team. So when you've got a very dear friend, you can get away with murder.
Sir, you're on mute.
I think Harsha Bhogle made it very clear. One of my all-time favorite videos. So talent is important, but talent helps us to a certain extent. Now, what is the management lesson we can take from this? See, one of the most important thing which corporates do is they focus a lot on talent, right? So even beyond talent, they focus a lot on academics, right? And many times the corporates miss out on good candidates. They may not be good on the academic front, but they might be good otherwise, right? So it's very important that the organizations come up with the assessment at the time of recruitment and selection, which is holistic. So it is not just a technical test and a psychometric test and interview, which um, sometimes which is also very stereotyped and mundane, and which does not capture and measure the important characteristics which are required for the job. Maybe it takes care of some of the characteristics, but not the characteristics or the personality traits which are required for the job. Next is your financial condition is just one of the factors for success. Now, this is something very important. We have many examples, maybe hundreds of examples. So, I thought of some of these examples. So, maybe Sachin Tendulkar, the recent one, T. Natarajan, Umesh Yadav. So, Yadav's father was working in coal mines, right? So, I think he first used the leather ball after becoming adult, right? So, MS Dhoni, all of us know about, right? So financial condition is fine, means it is one of the factor, but it is not the only factor, right? So as an organization, if you are struggling on the financial front, there are so many other areas where we should look for, and the finance would be taken care of in the long run. Now this is something very interesting. Again, here we can have many examples. I thought of these two. Age is just a number, right? So if we talk about Michael Hussey, right, known as Mr. Cricket, he debuted at the age of 30, right? So people take retirement at the age of 30 or 32 in cricket, okay, or they are thrown out of the cricket team at the age of 30, right? And he debuted at the age of 30 when he already had 15,000 runs under his belt, right? And then rest is history. His test batting average is more than 51. One day batting average is more than 48. He also went on to lead the Australian cricket team in a few one day matches. Right. Another very good example in this context is Robin Singh. Right. So he debuted at the age of 26, but he failed miserably. But he started his second inning at the age of 33. Okay, and went on to play 136 ODIs for India. Okay, and he has also opened the batting for India. Right, so one of the best fielders we ever had. Right, so age is just a number that is to be kept in mind. So it may so happen that in our 20s or 30s, maybe we are not getting the expected returns from our career. When I say return, it's not just financial, otherwise also in terms of the role, okay, the type of companies which we work for, but we do not know when it will work. So consistency is the key. No, this is not a very well-known example, and that's why I have chosen this. I do not know how many of us even know this person. Paul Adams was a Chinaman and a googly bowler, right? And he created havoc all over the world, including the Indian batsmen, right? So, likes of Dravid.
It's not visible, sir. It's not moving as per the slides.
The slides are not moving.
Yeah, now it is perfect. Maybe you should not go to the slideshow mode. You can just control it in this particular mode itself.
All right. Let me just try once with the slideshow.
Sure.
Is it working now?
No, sir.
No.
It's not getting
All
into
right.
the slideshow mode.
Okay. All right. So now it is visible. Okay.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
So Paul Adams, a Chinaman and googly bowler from South Africa, he created havoc all over the world. Right. So likes of Tendulkar, Dravid, Lakshman, all of them fumbled. Right. Dhoni also found it extremely difficult to play against him. And subsequently, Indian batsmen and batsmen from other countries figured him out. Right. The problem with this talented boy was his style was unique, and he did not know any other way to bowl. Right. So in the organization context, it's very important that you are adaptable and you are flexible. So he never played after that. So last test match played by Paul Adams was at the age of 26. Right. So it's very important that you are adaptable, you are flexible. Actions speak louder than word. We all know, I think this is from 96 World Cup, Venkatesh Prasad versus Amir Sohail, right? So Amir Sohail was agitated, okay, and he challenged Venkatesh Prasad, okay, and told him that I will hit boundary in this particular area even on the next ball, okay, and with one Yorker, he was bowled on the next ball, right? So you have to decide whether you will get into the verbal debate, okay, acquisitions and all that, or you will do it with the action, right? So another example history, he started hitting him on the offside. Okay, so sixes on the offside, and once Olonga was disturbed with his rhythm, and then it was very easy for Sachin and the team to handle this bowler. Next one is, of course, MS Dhoni, the great. It's very important that you lead from the front. Okay, so in the organization context, at whichever position you are working, right? So leadership is very important. So as we all know, leadership is not about position; it's all about action, right? So we all know that MS Dhoni was not doing that great in the 2011 World Cup. It was Yuvraj Singh who was in the prime form, right? And in the final, he promoted you are leading from the front, and you are not exposing your employees all the time. Unless, see, the point is, as a manager, as a supervisor, or as a CEO, if you are technically incompetent, your employees will not accept you. Right, so they no way they are going to accept you as a technically incompetent leader. So you will have to show the way. You will have to lead from the front. Next, very good example is from the 1996 World Cup, right? So many things we have learned from this particular World Cup. So as per the World Cup or any major other major tournaments were concerned those days, now things are different. Most teams they used to prefer batting first, right? But Arjuna Ranatunga and the team, they realized and they concluded that we are good chasers. Okay, so we will bowl first, right? So batting is our strength. Of course, Muralidharan was there, but still batting is our strength. And few other things which they did and which change, revolutionized the one-day internationals and maybe subsequently led to T20 international was the free hitting in the first 15 overs, right? So they experimented with Jayasuriya and Kalu Vitharna, okay, and Arjuna Ranatunga asked both of them rather to use their free hand because they had a very good lineup in terms of Arvinda De Silva and Arjuna Ranatunga, right? So you will have to always work to your strength and not work according to weakness of your competitors, right? So if I relate it with strategy. The recent one, all of us know we had a historic win recently this year under the leadership of Ajinkya Rahane, right? So at the first look, many of us, Ajinkya Rahane doesn't give confidence, right? But he had limited resources, no Virat Kohli, no, for example, Ishant Sharma, no Umesh Yadav, no Mohammad Shami, right? No KL Rahul. Okay, so many of the players debuting. Okay, so many of them playing their third or fourth match, and what we have done is has become history, right? So it's very important that you must know how to work without your best resource. So this is related to the resource dependency theory, resource-based view, what we call in strategic management, right? So your best person or best employee or best resource is giving you result is absolutely fine, but you should not so dependent on that particular resource that you cannot work without the resource, right? Next one is also very interesting one. One of the most important thing in business and business management is communication, right? So as a leader, it is your responsibility to communicate with each and every person, right? So two contrasting examples are of Azharuddin and Dravid, right? So Azharuddin, as reported, he used to keep things to himself. Okay, so he hardly organized team meetings. Okay, hardly gave any pep talks. So his belief was, we have selected the best guys, and they will perform on the field. Okay. To me, Rahul Dravid is one of the most underrated player as well as captain. Right. So there are two incidences which I will like to quote. When Rahul Dravid became captain after Ganguly, he used to call the players who were not part of the team, right? So Mohammad Kaif, in one of his interview, told that Rahul Bhai called me up saying that Kaifi, you will not be playing the next match, okay? So, but you perform and you will be back. Okay, so I think one of the first captains to do that on a regular basis with each and every player, be the player is senior or junior, he did it with almost all players. Second, very interesting example about Rahul Dravid is when he was captain. I don't recall exact year. I think it must be 2006, 2007, and it was the Africa tour. Irfan Pathan was part of the team. He was doing pretty well with the bat, okay, but he was not doing well with the ball, okay, and the team wanted to have a genuine fast bowler, wicket taking bowler. He was unable to take wickets, okay, so Irfan Pathan was sent back to India, for which the captain was also criticized. But when this was asked to Irfan Pathan, he told that Rahul Dravid asked him to be back in India, play Ranji Trophy, prove himself, okay, and he will be back in the team. And he came back, okay, for the next series. Irfan Pathan was back. So communication is something very important. Once you communicate, then trust, belief, all those things will follow. It's very important that you talk to your employees on a regular basis, and please do not hesitate even to communicate bad decisions, right? It's very important. In organization context, it's very important to have all-rounders, right? So it's a long list. Maybe olden days, Mohinder Amarnath and Kapil Dev. Now we can think of Yuvraj Singh, Hardik Pandya. You can also include Ashwin, the way he has performed at the global level. Maybe Jack Callis, right? Imran Khan, Pollock. Olden days, Richard Hadley, Botham. It's a long list. These all-rounders, the employees who can work in different functions, the employees who can work on different projects, employees who can work in diverse teams. Okay, so these employees will take you further, right? So these are the employees who will help you in solving difficult problems, right? So it's very important from the organization context that you are having at least few all-rounders in your organization. I already talked about this. Never say die attitude takes you further, right? So attitude is very important. So you have to become a team player before becoming a leader, right? So in life, one has to learn to cooperate, sacrifice, and engage. So as we all know, he batted almost at all positions, right? I think from number 1 to number 9, I can think of, right? He kept wickets, right? So when the team required, right? So, of course, opened the batting, also bowled the off spinners, right? So, all in the interest of the team. What is very important in the organization context is your strength of mind. Okay. It's very important that you have very high concentration level and you are not getting provoked by what is happening around you, right? So, your strength of mind is something very important. Belief in oneself. Right. So if you are looking at becoming a senior manager, subsequently you want to become vice president and CEO, it's very important that you have belief in yourself. Right. Consistency is key. Right. For 1 year you have done well as employee, and next year you are not doing well. That is not acceptable. Right. So it's very important that you are consistent. And as we all know, patience is the key. You need to have patience. All of us will have ups and downs in the professional life, but you need to be patient. You will have to figure out, because if you are impatient, you will not be able to identify what is going wrong, right? Yeah. Now coming to Yash, can we have the next video, please?
Well, I would like to keep it very simple. I play cricket and all my devotion is towards cricket. You know, I know one thing, whatever is around me is because of cricket.
You know, you have to be honest in life. You have to be honest to yourself. You have to be practical. You have to take risk in life, but at the same time, you have to be calculated. You can't just say, okay, took a risky option at some point of time. You have to be ready for the kind of talent that's really needed to.
The kind of person I am, throughout my life, I've never tried to change myself. I've always kept it simple. Devote yourself to something and then be focused on that. So I think it's the ethics and the principles that really matter in life, and I've kept it really simple, so that has really helped.
I feel cricket it's a great leveler. It levels you out. If you're not humble, it teaches you how to be humble. क्रिकेट एक ऐसा गेम है जो फ्लिप ऑफ कॉइन से स्टार्ट होता है. टॉस के ही वक्त पैसा ऊपर जाता है, यू डोंट नो हेड आएगा टेल आएगा. क्रिकेट देखा गया एक ऐसा गेम है जब आप खराब फॉर्म से गुजर रहे होते हैं तो 90% ऑफ द टाइम जो ऑपोजिशन का सबसे स्ट्रॉन्ग बॉलर होता है वही आपको बॉलिंग कर रहा होता है, और जो सबसे खराब फील्डर होता है वही आपका डाइव मार के एक हाथ से कैच पकड़ता है.
I'm someone who keeps talking about being in the present, and it's not something that I keep saying, it's something that I truly believe in. And I feel it's always important to be in the present, focus in the present, because what I'm doing in the present will have an impact on the future, and I don't know where I will be in the next 5 years. So to predict about something that's 9 years down the line, it's very difficult.
A bit of advice here and there, because I've seen life more than you. I feel a lot of time you think it's too tough on you, and 24 hours is not really enough. But I feel if you have good time management, 24 hours is a lot.
So what is done. Okay, so we should not think about things which have gone wrong or which have gone right in the past, okay, and expect that the trend will continue, right? It's very important that you choose right people. So as far as Dhoni is concerned, he was very clear about the selection of the players, and he has also communicated this. He had also communicated this to the board that I am looking for these players, and these are the reasons. Maybe fitness and form, okay, not age, right? Sharpening the instinct is very important. You call it sixth sense, you call it instinct. Sharpening the same is very important, and Dhoni is master of the same. It's very important that we utilize the resources well. We may have the best resources. We know that when, for example, Azharuddin was captain, so on paper we had the best team, but that team never clicked, right? So it's very important that you have the best resources, but as a leader, you should be able to use the resources. You should always remain calm. There should always be plan B ready with us in the organization context. If your plan A has not worked, okay, so you should have another plan ready. Okay, it's very important that you know what is your competitive advantage as an organization. Okay, and you must also know that now the competitive advantage has changed, right? For example, Nokia, the company never realized that the competitive advantage has changed. Okay, and we all know what is their current status. Okay, so Kodak cameras is another example on similar lines. Now I came across this something very interesting case from INSEAD. Okay, so INSEAD, this case is published on Indian Premier League. Okay, so how this IPL has used the concepts from strategic management to transform the sports in India and all over the globe. Okay, so to be technical, how the concept of blue ocean strategy has been used in IPL. Now, when we talk about the blue ocean strategy, there are two things. One is we must know what is the value proposition. Okay, what value our customers are looking for, and second thing we must know is value innovation, right? So under the concept of blue ocean strategy, there are two things. One is customers, and second non-customers, right? So if you look at this particular diagram, right? So when we talk about domestic cricket, right? So it was not fast paced there was no glamour in the sports. Okay, so the players were not getting visibility. Okay, so very few of them were able to convert at the international level. Another issue was money, right? So if you do not get into the Indian cricket team by 25 or 26, it is really difficult to get into the Indian cricket team, right? And then at the age of 28 or 29, you are not left out with doing anything else. That was a major problem with Indian domestic cricket. They were not paid well. So now what IPL has done, they have identified the non-customers, right? So according to the concept in Blue Ocean strategy, the focus is on the new marketplace, right? So if you are serving to the existing marketplace, that is called as Red Ocean strategy. But if you are serving to the new marketplace, that is called as Blue Ocean strategy. And that's what IPL has done. Okay, so there were non-customers which were not interested in cricket. Okay, citing reasons like the game is too long. Okay, game is too boring. Okay, so it is too technical. We do not understand the rules and regulations of the game, right? So those were these sorts of complaints. Then using the framework of Cham Kim and Rennie, what IPL has done, if you can see on right hand side, the uh, blue one, right? So it has got entertainment. Okay, it has got Bollywood stars. Okay, and has created club culture. You can always debate and critique the club culture and the cons of IPL. But as far as value proposition is concerned and value innovation is concerned, it has a lot to offer, right? So many youngsters, they have got entry in the Indian cricket team due to IPL, right? So this is how IPL has given an opportunity to the youngsters. It has given money, it has given fame, okay, and so many new jobs are also created, right? So you have so many teams just playing for a few days or few months in a year, right? So you have a coach, you have assistant coach, you have director, you have support staff, you have a meditation expert, you have doctors. So many people they got employment due to IPL. So, talking about the six path approach, it's very important that you look across alternative industries. So, in IPL, what they have done, of course, ICL was the what you can call the leader, okay, but they could not capitalize on the first mover advantage, ICL, Indian Cricket League, okay, and which was capitalized by IPL. Right, so they looked at football, basketball, volleyball, all these where the game was happening in league. Okay, so they studied that and brought that in cricket. Then instead of confirming to establish strategic group, look across strategic groups. So what is happening across the world, okay, across the country? Then instead of focusing on the same buyer group as the rest of the industry, look across the chain of buyers. So I don't think kids and housewives were so much interested in cricket before 20, 30 years. Okay, it has all happened due to IPL. So many people watch IPL matches because you are having affiliation with a film star or you are having affiliation with a particular city. So traditionally, what was happening? Uh, Either I will support, I will watch cricket because I want to see Indian players. Okay, I am not bothered about the Australia and England match, for example. Okay, or match between West Indies and Pakistan. So that was one category of what we call customers. Second, the housewives and children, they did not follow or watch cricket because they found it extremely difficult to understand the game. Third, it was time consuming, right? So maybe 7 hours in a day or 8 hours in a day or 5 days at a stretch. It was time consuming. Now 3 or 3.5 hours, everything is over. So it's a win-win situation, right? And then you should also look for complementary products and services. So now so many products and services have worked due to the IPL. So you should always look for the complementary products and service. Functional or emotional appeal is something very important, right? So many people have started, for example, Kolkata Knight Riders. So people have started following Kolkata Knight Riders either because it is Kolkata is there or it is because of Shah Rukh Khan, just to give you an example. So instead of accepting an industry's functional or emotional orientation, look across functional or emotional appeal and look across time and find irresistible trends that would give an impact to buyers' value. So it's very important that you understand the value proposition and you are bringing in the value innovation which even the non-customers are looking for, right? So that's it from my side. Thank you so much. So it's a pleasure interacting with all of you. I would like to have questions, so we have few minutes with us.
Great. So participants, you can put in your questions in the questions tab, or if you want to come up live with us, you can raise your hand and we can have a conversation. So, sir, we have a comment from Lloyd. So he mentions, as a leader, Dravid often used to quote Rudyard Kipling, quote unquote, for the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. So this comes from the entire team building and how the leader should
Yes,
lead the
exactly,
team, how the team is supported by the leader.
exactly. It makes a huge difference, right? So team is supporting the leader and leader is supporting the team. A
Absolutely,
rare sight or the ideal situation, what you can say.
absolutely, sir. So we have a question from Devjani. She's asking anything in particular that we relate to HR with respect to the employee life cycle you would like to highlight.
So employee, yeah, no, this is a very good question. And actually, when I watched some episodes and the interviews of then so-called young players, be it Raina, Kaif, or Irfan Pathan, I realized one thing that your first boss matters. Okay, so who is your captain when you are joining the cricket team, Indian cricket team, or any other cricket team for that matter? It makes a huge difference in your career, right? For example, Dhoni. He gave long rope to many players. For example, like Ravindra Jadeja. Okay, so had somebody else been captain, Jadeja would not have played. Okay, for so many years in the Indian cricket team, right? So it's very important that your captain, so in the organization context, your boss knows you, knows the pros and cons. So your boss knows which are the areas in which learning and development is required. Okay, so whether you are fit for a particular role A or you're fit for role B, okay, what is the roadmap? For example, in organization context, let's talk about an accountant or an engineer. uh, on your career, right? So another example I have already given, right? So that is communication. So which is part of your employee life cycle management. So if you're telling the player why you are out of team for this particular series or for next two matches, okay, and what should you do? Generally, bosses tell the problems but not the solution or the process to solve the problem, right? Which was done by Rahul Dravid, as quoted by Irfan Pathan. He told that you go back to India, play Ranji Trophy, and if you perform, you will be back. He made it very clear that you have to perform, then only you will be back. Right? So that makes a profound influence on your career and makes a huge difference in the employee life cycle management.
So we have another question from Lloyd. He's asking any example you may want to share from cricket on how to handle success and what happens if it gets into your head.
Yeah, I have already quoted Vinod Kambli. Okay, so we know what happens if into your head, right? So almost out everyday partying, coming in a drunken state, okay, not following any code of conduct, not following any rules, regulations, right? And he was successful. Earlier, he was very much successful, right? So another extreme example, not related to this, But it's very important that as an organization, you respect the boss, right? So we have seen what happened to Anil Kumble. He had to resign as a coach, right? Not because he was bad, but he was disciplined. Okay, and not liked by Kohli and team, right? But it's very important. So again, it is strategic management and what is your vision and mission, right? So sometimes the head of the organization is too disciplined, doesn't go well with the next person. That is another way of looking at it.
Absolutely, sir. We have a comment from Nitesh Bhatt, sir. He mentions that when to retire is also important. Gavaskar versus Kapil.
Yeah. So Lakshman, another legend who yeah, excelled with the tell. All right. It feels so good to hear you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Viraj
Viraj.
is also here.
Yes. Yes. So Gavaskar, somebody asked him, how did you decide on the retirement? Okay. He replied that I started during the test matches. I started looking at the watch. Okay, looking at the clock. Okay, कि 5 कब बजेंगे और मैच कब खत्म होगा. So I realized that it's time to retire. Right. Another very good example in this context is AB de Villiers. So people like ABD, they retired at their peak. Okay, so not when you are thrown out of the team.
Absolutely. So that's largely about it, sir, for the questions and comments. Viraj says, it feels so good to hear you. Thank you so much for this session and thanks a lot, Yash. So Viraj was very excited for this particular session.
Thank you, Viraj. Thank you so much.
We have Dr. Chugan, who has mentioned, thank you, Professor Samir, for such an excellent session to explain the management lessons from the cricket. It was a very interesting session with extremely relevant examples from the cricket. Congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much for.
Thank you, Yash. Thank you so much.
And I'm sure we all have picked up a lot of insights and linked them to the management context as well. You have very beautifully explained and linked them. On behalf of ISTD Ahmedabad chapter, I thank you for your time and conducting this amazing session. And thank you to all the participants for being such a sport and putting up your comments and questions and making this session really participative. Have a great weekend and see you all next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.